Entering the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 9, picks against the spread, super locks, free money, Cust Corner, coming all to you. A reminder to smash the like and sub to the channel, and also sub to the newsletter down in the description, completely free. If you ever want to get this show a night early, that's where you find it, in the newsletter. Get it sent right to you, and you can jump on top of these great picks that we always seem to have every single week. And if you need more betting content in your life, highly recommend you check out the Hammer Betting Network. Myself, Geoff, and Tim have a show up there every single Wednesday where we talk through futures bets. So hit the description or just search Hammer HQ on YouTube to go check that out. Whether you're a pro, whether you're recreational, doesn't matter. There's content up there for you. Geoff, you have returned. You're on video. I got my video figured out. We're coming together in week 9.
It's all happening, Pat. It's all happening.
Okay. All right. See you're in mid-season form here. All right. Well, listen, the coin is in studio. We got trades going on. We got games to get to. I want to get to it all, but first we need to welcome him in. We'll see if he's still sad about the Jets from the weekend. It is Tim Andergust.
Tim Andergust.
That's not my name. I'm not sad. I've accepted my fate that this team is terrible. I'm glad to see they're not making trades. I support that. What are you trying to do? You can't replace the injured superstar running back, offensive line, and if you're going to keep starting a quarterback who's not fit to start for the Toronto Argonauts, what's the point?
Geoff, would you keep starting Zach Wilson?
It is wow. I've never thought you should pull a player in that situation, but he seems to have a total lack of understanding of a football IQ. It's a carelessness that, there's no comparison. I don't think that Sam Darnold, even seeing ghosts, it felt that careless. Even in, that first touchdown was phenomenal. He fit that thing in like a little window that very few probably could. But it doesn't even, the bad is so bad that you can't even make the, you can't even try to defend it. You can't even say like, oh yeah, Josh Allen, he'd show you a ceiling, then he'd fumble the ball backwards, but then you'd see another ceiling play and then you'd see something stupid. No, it doesn't even compare to anything. This is unfathomable, in my opinion. The football IQ, the lack thereof, that you had to know after that Denver game. They had to feel so lucky to have escaped without happening what happened versus the Patriots, that they had to have had a conversation with him. And then to see that his first default instinct the very next week is to do it all over again. I'm flabbergasted. And then he stood at that podium like he has a look that can seem pompous, which, if you don't have anything, whatever, that's just what he looks like. That's not his fault. But he acted like a pompous prick on that podium after that game too. So I don't know what to do if I'm the Jets.
If you're Robert Saleh, you're in a super tough spot because you know that the quarterback that you have is no good. But you can't start Flacco, and he's hurt anyway. I see they've activated Straveller. I actually think there's a case to be made to bring in Straveller, not to start as quarterback, but to use as sort of an H-back, Taysom Hills type quarterback, spell out, Mike White, spell out Zach Young, do something creative. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to sit there and let Zach Wilson throw interception after interception, and maybe they should. And then that way, everyone has justification to let him hit the road when the year's over. I don't know. It's a very tough spot. There's nothing to be hopeful about when it comes, because the NFL is so quarterback. Very few teams can play excellent football with bad quarterback play. Like you can get along with just decent quarterback. Like Miami doesn't have good quarterback play, but they have decent quarterback play. They got good enough to get you over. Philadelphia doesn't have amazing quarterback play, but they have good quarterback play. Minnesota doesn't have amazing quarterback play, but they have good enough to get you over. The Jets have like the worst quarterback play I can imagine. It's not going to get better. There's no hope for it to get better. Everyone we draft is terrible. Yeah. Like, is it going to cost Douglas his job? Probably not, because he's drafted so well elsewhere. But nothing to be hopeful about. They talk about the stages of grief. I guess I'm in the anger stage. Maybe I'll get to the acceptance stage later. Maybe I'm there. I don't know. I'm annoyed. This team is 5-3. It has no hope.
Well,
it has no hope.
Well, Geoff, you and I have some hope in coming back on Tim, so it was a good week for us, bad week for him, and closed the gap a little bit on his giant lead. I was 10-5, back to 2 games below 500 now, 60-62. You were 8-7, so we're tied on the year. Tim was 5-10, 63-59, still leading in the coin. Dropped down to 6-9 for the week, 57-65. Super locks, you and I hit Geoff, and the Lions couldn't come through against Tua for Tim, and the free money got blown up last second when the 49ers had an awesome second half. Tim had hit the first 4 legs of that teaser, but the Rams couldn't.
2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. That happens to me. Plus, my fantasy football team is destroyed. I'm feeling terrible about most of my picks in the Hammer contest as I look at them. I got nothing to look forward to.
You were just picking them up. Well,
the only thing I can look forward to is that the Miami Dolphins continue to misuse their resources constantly. And their failures and their mistakes are my joy. That's that's all I got left. I haven't got a whole lot to be happy about.
So you don't.
Everything is awful.
You don't like them.
Hold on.
You don't like
projecting. I think
you don't like.
There's no way.
Why do you not like this move to get Chubb for them?
Well, first they paid a first-round pick for an underperforming defensive end. Go ahead. Throw away these first-round picks that you were gifted from San Francisco, who also made a mistake, and using it on a guy who's just not going to make a difference. Go ahead. Go bring in Jeff.
Miami has 15 sacks this year. They need that's like what.
Maybe they should go after somebody who's good then. I don't know. Maybe they should have gone after somebody who's actually good at sacking the quarterback. He's an underperformer this year. You know what? Go ahead. Throw away your first-round picks. I'm glad to see it. Go after Jeff Wilson Jr., a guy who's so talented that the Niners couldn't wait to trade for another running back rather than play him every week. I don't understand any of these moves, but great. Let them waste their resources. I don't care. Good.
Who'd you rather, Tua or Zach?
I would rather any quarterback in the NFL other than, I don't know, maybe.
So you're out on Zach? Like you don't even see a future?
If I were the general manager of the Jets, I would probably cut him. What? I would have used today as the trade deadline to trade him for something. And when nobody got anything for him, I would have sent him off and said, maybe you can go play for the Tiger Cats in the Queen Elizabeth Highway rivalry next week when they play in the CFL playoffs or something. Maybe the CFL team will bring you in on time. Or maybe you can get in early at an XFL training camp. Good luck to you. That's what I would have done.
No, Tim, I know you well enough. And it would be no secret to anyone in the audience, other than processed foods, you really are not one to put any sort of poison into your body. But those of us that have, the come down is real. It is real and it is dangerous. And you're on some sort of come down right now based on how you were talking a week ago. I don't even know what to make of this. I don't even know if you seem so genuine that I don't even think you're trying to swerve.
My heart is broken. My heart is broken. And it's irreparable right now. And I know who broke it. And I know who did it. Franklin Myers may have ruined my season. But it's not his fault, the whole thing. The whole thing's going sideways because the quarterback can't play, can't take responsibility. And everybody's hurt. And everyone I cheer for gets hurt. And everyone's cheering on these other teams that have god-awful players and telling me how great they are. And everything is awful. I have nothing to hope for. I have things to cheer against. That's all I've got right now.
What about when Zach Wilson drops 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and the Jets beat the Bills this week? What happens then? Are you back up?
I'll be absolutely furious because all that'll mean is that people will say, oh, see, you got to give him a chance. Last week didn't mean anything. We all know that anyone can have one good game. It doesn't mean nothing. We've seen, that will not. I will not be thrilled about that. I'll be happy the team won, I suppose. I think that line is a bit inflated and kind of stupid. But whatever. The Jets are playing terrible football, even though they have an elite defense. Their offense is just – they have a quarterback who can't play, and he's not interested in getting better. What kind of answer is, I get bored throwing the ball away? That is an instant bye-bye, got to cut you now type of answer. You're in year 2. If that's your response to playing one of the worst games anyone has ever seen, like, get out of here. You're not fit for Gotham City. Get on a bus and go to Hamilton or go to Regina and go play football in the CFL. Those are quality leagues who will be happy to have you. This ain't the Mountain West.
Do you think that his press conference was more obnoxious or just how good Tua was?
Well, I mean, look, I give him his credit. He can throw to wide open receivers. He's very good at that. My guy's not. My guy can't even hit open receivers. So I guess Tua has that on him.
Tua's dropping a nice little ball into bucket. Ball into bucket.
Yeah, he's very, very talented. It's the best there's ever been. Okay.
Your words,
They're-
Jeff. Best there's ever been. He's the Bret Hart of NFL quarterbacks, Tua.
Yeah.
Well, the play, you gotta give credit when it's due. Like, they're making plays.
Well,
the receivers are getting open.
Do you agree with the crooked media, Jeff, that Tua's better than Herbert?
Listen, it's not. I've taken.
Don't steal my talking points. I got points.
I haven't said really a mean word about Tua in a year and a half, and it is nice to see him play well, and I hope he's healthy enough to keep playing. I don't think there's a throw that Tua can make that Herbert can't, and there's probably plenty that Herbert can make that Tua can't. And it's fun. And you saw last night with Joe Burrow, your top receiver goes down, you're going to struggle. Things might not be as hunky-dory. Also, for people to be picking on Herbert, it's like they haven't even watched these games. He's the only reason the Chargers win. He's the only reason the Chargers have a chance. And he's doing it playing hurt. And you saw what he did after he got hurt in that Chiefs game. Like, to say what you saw, like what your eyeballs saw in the first 2 years of Herbert, and to say like that no longer counts for anything as he's playing without his left tackle, receivers, how he's not healthy. Joe Lombardi calls a blood dump offense. Like, people got to really chill on.
If you put if you put Justin Herbert on my team would be the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl. It's that simple.
Well, things have really started to go weird for us since you after you spent a whole offseason bashing us, you put some air in my tires, and then things start to real go sideways.
I really like you this week too.
Shut up!
I do though. I really do.
I'm desperate for a win. And Pat, I don't know how it's possible that it's week 8. Both of our teams are over 500, and it's just such negative energy.
I've never been less happy about my team. I was happier when they were 2-8, and I didn't have to my guts weren't knots every day. Anyway.
You are crumbling both of you just crumble under the pressure of success.
Oh, I'm a delicate flower, Patrick. I do not deny how fragile I am. And people need to realize it takes people, teams like my team and Tim's team, for the ecosystem to live. Like these Patriot dynasties, or if you're having fun with your team right now, it's all part of the ecosystem. You need us. But what happens when the bees die? You know what I mean? Everything is going to go under. So we're all part of this ecosystem, and it needs losers like us. And we all hope we can have our hopeful moment like Paul's having right now. The Buffalo, just to be the belle of the ball. People project you to be the belle of the ball, and you actually go out and are being the belle of the ball. What a feeling that must be. But I don't know. I have such fear for us for Sunday. But we'll get there when we get there. I can't believe Tim turned that fast, though.
Paul, you wanted to talk about the Bills for a second?
Oh, a wise man once said that people only think the Bills are good because they haven't played the Jets yet. So looking forward to potentially, people seeing that, that we're actually good this week.
We'll talk about it. The only hope that I have is that I watch the Bills defense, their rushing defense, look like paper mache on Sunday night.
Oh, they were playing a preseason game in the second half. They really were.
There's something to be said for that. I mean, yeah, anyway.
I mean, but I'd be
And
more
Tim,
worried
for
if
you guys
had
to do what
Brees.
you did, your first
You know.
sellout in MetLife in years, I saw the parking lots were full, like bright.
Stop.
And early.
I know. It makes me that much more upset. We had them by the throat. It was 17-3. It was over. It was done. They were done. I don't think Mac Jones even plays another snap in the game. I think they bench him after that terrible pick six. The game is over. A playoff spot is ostensibly clinched at 6-2. We're too clear of everybody. But no. We couldn't do that. We have to hit the quarterback. Then our quarterback has to throw it at exclusively Patriots and then put his hand on his head like his surfboard capsized in a tsunami he didn't see or something. Like, who does he think he is? Like, does he understand what city he's in? What team he plays for? He doesn't play for the Jaguars or, the Texans. This is the New York Jets. I don't know who he thinks he is and what he thinks he's doing, but I'm sorry. I got no time for you. I wish I could take on a flight to New York so I could drive from the airport to pick him up, to take him back to the airport, and then fly him to his XFL city of choice so that he can try out for the, where they all play in Orlando. So I guess it doesn't matter. But, play for the whoever's. Like, how dare you act like that? How dare you get my hopes up and stomp on my heart? You have no right to do that to me. I didn't do anything to you. I've been here a lot longer than you have, and I'll be here a lot longer than you will, which, won't be long given the way you're playing. You'll be on another team, in the XFL very soon. But how dare you do this to me? I don't deserve this. Either give me a year I can be hopeful about, or stop it. Don't just ruin everything. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to watch them lose 12 straight games, which is what's going to happen.
Okay. Let's talk about this week. We only have 13 games, which is nice, and one of them is this Thursday night game that has Philly and Houston. Houston is, we got it 13.5 right now. It is broken through 14 in real time on DraftKings Sportsbook. So sky's the limit for where this spread might be going. 44, is the total in the game. What's better, do you think, for Amazon and their Thursday night package, Geoff? Is it to have two really crappy teams or have the best team and the worst team play each other? Because that's essentially what we're getting. We're getting 2 in DVOA in Philadelphia, 32nd in DVOA in Houston, who just lost to a team who decided we don't have to throw the ball to beat you. We're just going to run every single time. Philadelphia could actually employ that exact same strategy and maybe win this game by 40 because they can actually throw the ball at the same time too. I don't know what to do with this 14-point spread though. Like, do we just lay the minus 14 and say the Texans suck?
I don't know what the number, as you like to ask, Pat, what number would I want to take the Texans at? Maybe it would be 14.5. So by the time we get there, I hate these sorts of games. Like, I hate betting them. I hate taking 13 points.
On the pick show, Pat's letting Cam pick whatever spread he wants and just say it's a minus 120 and he can put it in his gold, silver, or bronze. So can I start doing that too? Can I start saying, oh, I want the Texans, but I want them plus 14.5? Like, is that the rule on this show too? Or is that only a special pick show rule?
I've been seeing Cam do that to Pizzola probably as way back as like 2008. Just do whatever he can to get that number, to get that point.
But it seemed like it was going to be granted by Pat last week. So I'm just asking, do I have the same privileges or what?
Oh, we have the spread that's on the board.
Him actually bets. You don't.
You should have seen what happened to my pro. Anyway, doesn't matter.
What happened to your pro line, Tim?
It got burned.
No. Not pro line.
Yes, pro line.
You got to stop playing pro line, man.
Anyway, I had a good one. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'll take Philly, but I don't care for it. And they play the Commanders on Monday next. So
they go Thursday to Monday? Just like Baltimore.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
So it's almost good for them. It's like a mini bye. They've had an early bye on the season. So things, the schedule within the schedule, it's always got to work. And not to say the Eagles aren't playing great, but lots is lined up for them. And hey, they're knocking them down. And now they'll get a nice little rest, and good for them. It's just a matter of how much they honestly care. But I'll take 13 and I'll lay 13.5, I guess. This is a no bet. I'll bet Goddard to score the first touchdown, then I'll go to bed.
Paul, you had something to say?
When did Tim start doing pro lines? Was it when he stopped going to McDonald's Monopoly? Because he's been doing it the last couple of weeks, and I was wondering if that's like how he replaced his vice.
I mean, I don't know if I would put it that way, but there is an intersection of the lines that I hadn't thought about. So maybe
One's
Maybe
more
that
dangerous.
you may be right.
I think the gambling's probably better for you long term. Better on the ticker.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Not if he keeps losing at the last second.
Eating like $2,000 worth of McDonald's is probably worse for you. So I think gambling.
I haven't been there, and I think it'll be a month on Thursday.
Yeah, you should, Geoff.
3 weeks or a month.
You should see new healthy
feel great.
Tim.
I feel great. Jeff's too busy on his phone looking at what odds he can get Scheffler at this week. Who's going to win, by the way? Lock him in.
Good to know.
If it was 14, I would have taken the Texans. But it's 13.5, and I will play Philadelphia.
Okay, I'm playing Philadelphia as well. The coin is going to go with Houston. One case for, and this could be a Paul thing as well, because Paul and Cody talk about this on the Dogger Pass podcast, which people should watch on Mayo Media Network, obviously. Oh, and play in the Listeners League, by the way. The link is down in the description. That Houston's going to fight for your dollar, Geoff. Even when they had no hope last week against Tennessee, they just kept trying to score touchdowns. They didn't take anyone out of the game. They were just going full speed, running like a 4-minute, 12-play drive to get Dameon Pierce a touchdown. So the back door is in play after Philly gives up in this game because they're up by too much.
I could totally see that. Hopefully, I'm asleep before any of that happens.
Oh, I'll most definitely be asleep. I'll watch the game.
Well, now because of the rain. Now because of the rain out, I'll be watching the World Series.
Hey, World Series ratings slightly up.
Not surprised. You have a big market team, and also a team everybody hates to watch. So.
Yeah, today's day and age, if you can go up or even remain stable as a live sporting event, that's a big win at this point. Just not losing viewers every single year is massive compared to what most broadcast networks are doing at the moment. Sunday, Buffalo and the Jets.
Whoa.
13. That picture of Zach Wilson cracks me up. Bills are favored by 13 on the road in New York. I'm going to make this interesting here. I like the Jets in this game at plus 13. I think that their defense is good enough. We saw glimpses of bad Josh Allen on Monday night. Maybe it's because he was just fucking around. Or Sunday night, sorry. He was just fucking around. I don't know what was going on, but the Jets have a better defense than the Packers do. And I think the way that their defense is set up can give the Bills some problems. I don't think the Bills are going to outright lose the game, but I'm curious to see what happens here. I don't think it's as high a scoring game as maybe people think from the Bills side, which would throw it in the bucket of plus 13 for me. So, Tim, I am taking your New York Jets.
It's a line that is a bit big because, what Green Bay was only getting 10.5 in Buffalo. Jets crushed Green Bay a couple of weeks ago. And the spread that game was 7. It wouldn't be that now. It would be like 3 or 3.5. So what they're saying is that the Bills, if the Jets game was Orchard Park, the Jets would be like 19-point dogs. That seems like a way too big of a spread. It seems like too many points. But the Jets are done. They're dead meat. And so even though it is too big, the train keeps rolling, and Buffalo beats the Jets by 2 touchdowns or more.
Oh, putting the reverse curse on his own Jets, Geoff. That's a move.
I'm gonna go with you, Pat. Give me the Jets. We're gonna take these points on the road. I don't know. The Bills got a game next week versus the Vikings. I don't know that really matters to the Bills at all. So I'm not really even playing that look ahead angle. I just agree. The Jets defense, I think, can keep this thing close. I think it's gonna be, as you said, a low scoring, weird game. Definitely don't see the Jets winning, but I think it might be a little bit more competitive than the spread indicates.
Just trying to look here. They scored 19 to the Dolphins on the road outside. In the Ravens outside, they scored 23. They scored 24 in the Chiefs outside. They put 31 up on the Rams inside. Oh, not at home, on the road, outside. Could be kind of frigid here in this game. I have no idea what the forecast is. Although, Tim, like Pizzola told us, weather is so accurate that you just look at the internet and it will tell you exactly what it is 6 days out.
This is what I've been told. It's a slam dunk. There's no shadow of turning or variation.
I think this is the first time in show history Geoff, myself, and the coin have all taken the Jets, and you've taken the Jets' opponent.
I hope you're right, but I don't see it. I think even the logical play is the Jets. Jets are just a dead duck.
Green Bay at Detroit. Green Bay reeling, and so is Detroit at the moment. They fired their defensive backs coach. They trade TJ Hawkinson to a division rival, and they are 3.5-point dogs at home to Aaron Rodgers. 50 is the over-under. I don't know what to make of the Packers. They don't even really show life at this point. I don't know if Lazard is going to play. Sammy Watkins banged up. They just have Romeo Doubs as their only receiving threat. Maybe they can just run all over Detroit, but Detroit's offense at home so far this season has actually looked pretty good. I'm going to take the 3.5 and roll with the Lions here, Geoff.
Yeah, this could be my super lock, Pat. I really do like Detroit here. What a weird season they have had. Maybe a lot of bad luck. Brought upon themselves. Some definitely, like a lot of teams, a lot of injury. Unfortunate injury timing for the Lions.
Right, they're also not good, so there's that component to it as well.
The Packers, they're just the dead fish to me. And if they beat the Lions, sure, I guess I wouldn't be shocked. But the Lions, as coach likes to say, and he says it too much, that they're close. They're really close. I think they show the full roar this weekend. And I'll actually go on to guarantee they'll show up on Cam's top 3 board as well.
Is the Packers season like officially dead, Tim, if they lose this game?
3-6? It's on life support. It's kind of on life support now. Yeah. But it's really, 3-6, but like the NFC is so bad that like if they won all the rest of their games but one and went 10-7, they'd probably make the playoffs. So I don't think in the NFC until you get to 8 losses is your season done.
Sure, but this is a game like they need to have, like to beat the one-win Lions. You can't be losing games to teams with 1 win.
No, you can't. And they're not going to. They're going to cover the number. I think they are going to run the ball a lot. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, actually, game where Green Bay runs it a ton, and they win it like 23-17.
So this is the game we wanted. This is just like the Lions last week and how it's going to be a low-scoring game. This is a game we need to stack up on DraftKings. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring affair because I think Green Bay is going to take the air out of the ball. I think they're going to play it that way.
Yeah, it's funny that you have Aaron Rodgers on your team and they essentially refuse to pass the ball, even in very clear passing situations. It's kind of nuts, actually. Like, that was also a big part of them being able to run the ball so well on the Bills, too. The Bills are like, yeah, sure, run it. Kill the clock. Go nuts.
Okay, but Detroit can't stop the run. Detroit's the worst team in football against the run, I think.
Yeah, well, Detroit can't stop anything. So,
what Green Bay's doing best is running. So just run through them. You don't need to win by style points. You just need to get a W on the board. Get to 4-5. The division is gone, but like the wild card is still within your grasp. And you have Aaron Rodgers. You just get into the playoffs. It's the NFC. You could beat anybody in one game.
But you still don't like the Bucs then, because that's sort of the Bucs' entire MO.
No, I think the Bucs are just. I know what Green Bay's problem is, and I think Green Bay's.
Lose him?
I think we may have lost him here. He got too mad. His internet had to crap out on him. Let's get to the next game, though. Miami at Chicago. The Bears are 5-point dogs at home. 44.5 is the spread. Do you think that the new guys that the Dolphins just picked up are going to be able to play, Geoff?
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to have Bradley Chubb play. And Jeff Wilson probably can play because he would probably know a lot of the playbook.
True.
Or a lot of the terminology maybe from the coach. And that sophisticated running system for everyone that wanted a lot of chatter that the Dolphins should, Kareem Hunt being the better player. Circumstances probably mean Jeff Wilson because he could probably pop right in. He knows the system. He knows what would be expected. And as for Bradley Chubb, I don't know, it's 3rd and 7. What's his job? Like, you gotta have a game plan for that? No, like he can have an individual isolated responsibility on passing situations. I don't see why they both wouldn't play. The Bears, though, they've been real feisty. They got a lot of fight in them. So I think, and the spread's sitting at 5. I don't know if it changed with the trades today.
It didn't.
Road dog laying 5 to me. I've joked with you for years. It's always to me like the weirdest, road favorite laying 5. It's like the stinkiest spreads ever. The books aren't going to lay the full field goal or ask you, to sniff that touchdown, but they also know that field goal doesn't feel right. To me, though, Pat, this line should probably be closer to 3 than the 7, in my opinion. So based on that, I'm going to take the Bears. Also, I know you guys were making a weather joke earlier, but it is supposed to be really bad weather. Really bad weather. So if that can impact the passing game of Miami, that would be a big advantage for the Bears.
I would think so as well. I was going to take the Bears anyway. I know that they actually wouldn't have covered the spread against the Lions last week. They would have covered against the Steelers at home in the Sunday night game. But the Dolphins, like, they're deep, and maybe Bradley Chubb shores up a lot of what's been going on there, and just getting extra pressure won't allow teams to do whatever they want to their defense. But I'm actually shocked at how bad the Miami defense has been over the last month. That, Fields on these designed runs, which they're actually doing now, he presents a deep threat. Weirdly enough, and I can't imagine having said this 4 weeks ago, is Fields the best quarterback from that class last year?
I think if we redrafted him, geez,
you'd still take Lawrence. I feel like, just based on the potential, but he hasn't shown it. It's all theoretical. But it's all theoretical dollars at this point.
Yeah, and at some point, I mean, it does start to feel like after what people watched of some situations versus Denver last week, that another one of those, like, the walls are really going to start to close in on Lawrence, and not in like a replace him or bench him, but even the longest defenders of Lawrence are probably going to have to start to squeeze. And Fields is looking comfortable. And who was it? Eberflus was saying they were stealing plays from, I don't remember. There was a running quarterback they openly admitted they're stealing plays from, and I guess it's been working. This is a game I kind of see the Dolphins winning like 24-22. If that, like, another one, Dolphins will get it at the wire. But I'm going to take the 5 because, as I said, I feel like it should be closer to 3 than 7. So give me the Bears.
I'm with you. The coin is taking Miami. Is this one of your classic Dolphins money line Bears spread parlays?
No, I don't want. Before Tim puts me on that, and says documents it as something I'm condoning. I'm not. But I guess if I had to pick one this week, it would probably be this. Yes.
Do we have Tim back, Paul?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, I'm sure you like the Bears as well.
Yeah, Chicago should win this game. If Chicago plays its game and it doesn't turn the ball over, it's more physical, it's more talented. It should win this game. You add Claypool to the mix.
What a
they should dominate up front in the trenches. Miami's going to have to get lucky on the back end with a couple of deep passes, and it can happen. But it's going to be 50 some odd degrees, so chilly, not warm in Chicago. We'll see. It could even we'll see if it gets damp or anything. Right now, it's just calling for 58 degrees, so it's cold. We know the numbers that when the weather gets cold, Tua does not play well in the cold. That's documented. So it will be interesting to see what I expect to be a very.
When you say that, like, are we just referring to like late December in Buffalo?
Like, there's a couple of games. No, last year at Nashville as well. Like, there's actually research to show we're not at that temperature.
So
yet.
Late December versus the number 1 seed in the AFC.
But there's actually research to show that when he plays under a certain temperature, he plays poorly. Which, not surprising. Like, the team is soft, and he is a finesse quarterback, and everything receivers have to be wide open, and he needs a perfect circumstance to do that in. Chicago won't allow that. Chicago will mess the game up. Chicago will turn them over. Chicago will have short fields. I, too, don't think it'll be a very high-scoring game, but I think it should be like the Dolphins, outside of 2 weeks, don't score anyway. So 20-17 Chicago.
Chicago loses Smith. The Dolphins, like I said, Chubb, I assume, will play in third down or obvious passing situations. Like, I can't imagine that he wouldn't play.
I don't think it'd make much of a difference. Why would he? Just not that good.
They have 15 sacks on the year.
Okay, but like I said, then go get somebody good. Don't get somebody and make me pretend like he's good. Like he's not where the first round draft.
You could think they gave up too much. You could think it's not worth it. You could think they're going to pay him too much. He's still like a really good upgrade for what's happening there.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm super excited for them. Yeah, they should definitely go all in. That seems like a really smart decision. That seems like a team that really knows what it's doing. A team that couldn't have, tried harder to bring in Tom Brady or Deshaun Watson. Now should really try to build around Tua and provide that team offensively and defensively every opportunity to win this season. That shows a real intelligent way to develop a football team. But they're 5-3, and like they're about to be 5-4, and they still have another game against the Bills, and like they're not very good. And we're getting into the cold part of the year where the heat of Miami is not really a thing to get an advantage from, and all their road games they're going to be shivering in. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm supposed to be impressed about Jeff Wilson Jr. and Bradley Chubb, like they just traded for Reggie White and for Gale Sayers, but I don't think they did. And so, I'm sorry, I'm just not that impressed by what the Dolphins are up to. But they're stacked though. Like,
I gotta ask, who is, besides the one Dolphins friend that we had who's trolling you, who else is saying this stuff? Dolphins Reddit?
There's all kinds of people. If you go just on Twitter, talking about how the Dolphins are stacked. The Dolphins have made the moves. They're not that good. I mean, they need to make moves.
Day.
Great. They won the trading deadline. When you give away,
I don't know what that's worth.
When you
in the
give
NFL,
away
all
nothing. It's worth nothing. Whatever. I almost don't even want to talk about the Dolphins. It frustrates me too much to talk about this team. We talk about this team way too much. It's a middle of the road team that isn't nearly as talented as people want it to be. I'm just not impressed by them. I'm not going to stand and pretend like I was impressed that they managed to eke out a game against Detroit, who is the worst defense in football, and barely managed to win that game, and got down big early because they're just a soft team.
So the Bills are soft, the Dolphins are soft. Who is a non-soft team in the NFL?
San Francisco's not a soft team. Philadelphia's not a soft team.
But you buried San Francisco last week because all their guys were hurt. How can you be a tough-nosed team and all your guys are hurt?
And they were grittier than I anticipated. To give them their due, they played a much better game than I thought they were capable of. No, it's not that. It's not a rent-free situation. And like, of the people on this show, like somebody spent a lot more time yelling about Tua comments this week than I did. So it's not like I'm the principal hater of Tua. I'm whatever. It's just he's not nearly as good as people want him to say he is. He's okay. Like people just
I'm not the principal Tua hater. I give Tua credit when he succeeds.
Somebody recommended that Tua was better than Herbert, and you recommended that person should remove their genitalia.
I think
publicly on Twitter.
I don't think there's anybody that would take Tua
if you don't
over
think
Herbert.
Fair enough, but like, if you
even
don't see
Darian is like, you people are insane. Like, you guys got to stop that. Tua is playing well. I don't think you're only creating this situation for you're now again putting unfair parameters on him. Like, just let him play well.
Chicago should bully them off the field.
So Chicago's a tough team?
I really want to switch to Miami because he did this last week with Detroit, Pat. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too. I actually was going to put Chicago, and they were in super lock consideration here. I might have to backtrack off of that a little bit. Jets just made a trade.
Whoa.
Oh, did they?
They traded edge rusher Jake Martin to the Broncos.
Great.
What a deal. They're keeping Elijah Moore, though. Looks like.
That's fine. Whatever.
Minnesota and Washington in a Kirk Cousins revenge scenario. The Commanders are 3.5-point dogs at home in this game. The total is 43.5. I don't know how the Commanders continue. I mean, they played the Colts, and we know how fraudulent the Colts are. But Heineke seems like he wants to give the other team the ball, but the other team just doesn't want to take it from him. It's really strange. Like, this seems kind of disrespectful to Minnesota, so now it has me worried.
Okay, Jeff, we need third-party intervention here because Patrick and I just have a profound disagreement on whether Tyler Heineke's a decent quarterback. So why don't you come in and break the tie?
Jeff, let's explain our cases here because I feel like I've been misrepresented in this. So I think playing Tyler Heineke is a bad idea for Washington. He plays too tough, but I don't think that he's actually any sort of improvement over Carson Wentz. I actually think they're kind of the same guy. Maybe he's a bit more mobile at this time. But Washington can't be winning games. What are they doing? They got to start Howell at some point.
He's a
I like
clear
Heineke.
improvement.
He gets the ball to the receivers.
I mean, Wentz
Yeah, McLaurin's had his best 2 games of the year with Heineke. I wonder why that is.
But I don't think he's good. Like, I wouldn't want to build around him. I wouldn't be
No,
happy
I agree with that.
if he was my quarterback. And kind of to Pat's point, there's the potential, like, the worst scenario in the world is 7-9. Like, you're like, you don't draft in the right spot. You miss the playoffs. You miss the top of the draft. Like, there's nothing worse than middle of the pack purgatory to me, especially for the Commanders, who, like, no one should have been expecting anything from them. So, like, you guys know me. Anytime I don't think I have no expectations coming into the year for the Chargers, I'd rather them just be really bad, despite getting frustrated and, acting out on the podcast. Like, to me, picking the top 5 is better than finishing 8-8 or whatever the new 8-8 is.
I described him as like low rent Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's who he is. Like, he's going to come in. He's going to
no. See, I think he is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No, he's
not
he's
low
he's,
rent
he's,
Ryan
he's,
Fitzpatrick.
he's worse
He
than
is
Ryan
Ryan
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
No, he's worse than Ryan Fitzpatrick was.
And he's much better than Wentz.
I don't think that he is
But
much
in the
better
NFC,
than
there's
Wentz.
a playoff spot for them now.
Yeah, but they're still going to be last in the division. Like 4 teams from the NFC East are going to make the playoffs is what you're telling me?
No, they'd have to, someone, they'd have to, like, jump the Giants or something would have to happen there, I guess. But
anyway, 3.5 is a weird line in this game. And I mean, I stopped doing it last week. We talked it through on the show that I'm just going to refuse to try. I mean, the Raiders got me good, obviously. But this 3.5, it feels like it should be more. The Vikings are good. The Commanders aren't. But why is this only 3.5, Geoff? I guess is my question to you.
there's just the level of disrespect, I think, for the Vikings. Everyone is kind of waiting for another shoe. I am very bullish on the Vikings and futures in all sorts of ways. And I thought even last week might have been a bad spot game for them against the Cardinals, and they looked outstanding. I actually don't even think in the Monday morning conversations of the league, Vikings are getting enough credit for how well it seemed like they played on both sides of the football. I'm with you. I'm just I don't know why I decided to maybe try to pick on them last week, but I will not here. To me, they're the much better team, and I can buy into the Kirk Cousins revenge game fully.
So Minnesota for both of us. Do you like Washington, Tim?
No, not at this number. I was hoping I'd get it like 5.5, 6. That's the right number. I mean, the books know that the Vikings are not quite as good as their record. I mean, everyone's waiting for Minnesota and Cousins to have a 4-interception game and just be out of sorts. And outdoors is probably a good spot for it to happen. But, like, Washington has no crowd. Like, no one goes to those games. I bet you there'll be just as many Vikings fans there as there will be Commanders fans. The line is too short. And so I don't see the value in Washington, although wouldn't be shocked in the least if Cousins blew up. But I'll take Minnesota, not with much confidence, though.
So round of Minnesota, Washington for the coin. I will give Heineke credit for this, almost like the Texans point that I made earlier. Heineke's going to play to the end to try to score touchdowns, regardless of the score. There's no taking knees with Heineke. So he might try to get you. They might be down by 10. It's like, oh, they scored a touchdown with no seconds left when they probably should have just been taking knees so no one gets hurt. But no, they're gonna press for that touchdown to cover the spread. So I'd watch out for that. Indy at New England. New England's not good, but they're 5.5-point favorites because the Colts are also not good. And the spread, or the total, is 39 in this game. The coin is going to take the Patriots at home in this spot. What do you think the Patriots' game plan here is? Is it let Jonathan Taylor do whatever he wants? Is it like, hey, sorry, Sam Ellinger, your time is not now?
Outside of that Justin Fields performance, which maybe we can call an outlier, Bill Belichick just dominates and obliterates young quarterbacks. And now you have one who doesn't necessarily have the pedigree or the pre-draft pedigree of a lot of the recent young quarterbacks that he has dominated, and it's his second ever start. So I just want to blindly say I got to take the Patriots. That being said, if I knew that the Colts were literally going to try to play this game like Army football, I would be inclined to take the Colts because I think they could get the 4 yards of play. Ellinger run, Taylor run, Hines run, a little pass to the 7-foot receivers when they have to. But I don't know that they'll try to do that. They'll probably ask this guy to do too much, and he'll make fatal mistakes.
I'm going to take New England -5.5. This game's a stay away for me, though, Tim, in terms of betting.
No, I think the Patriots play this game comfortably. They're the first part of a 14 money line parlay. I like the Patriots this week. They're just not going to make any mistakes. Ellinger's going to have a nightmare of a game. The Patriots are going to bring pressure in the right spots. They're going to show very interesting disguises, try to bait him into throws that he can't make. I really like the Patriots in this spot. And then offensively, they just have to do enough, right? The Patriots just have to get to 23. It's probably the magic number to win and cover here. And I think they'll do that. I think it's, again, a low-scoring, sort of ugly game. But the Patriots are definitely the better team. This is the right number. The books finally appreciate the Colts for trash, as we've been saying on the show for 2 months. And so we're going to put the Patriots in the moneyline parlay. I like the Patriots as a good starter.
Carolina at Cincinnati. This line just keeps going down and down and down right now, because I think it opened at 10, but then everyone watched Cincinnati play on Monday night, and they went full Raiders. That just didn't show up to play the game against the Browns. So as it currently stands, what do I got here? -7 for the Bengals. Now I think money is coming back in on the Bengals after this drop down that went back up. 42.5 is the over-under. Tim, do you think we see the Bengals that we saw on Monday night? And is this what their offense looks like without Jamar Chase? Or do they just no-show and they'll get it figured out by this week against the Panthers?
I don't know. That's a bad answer, perhaps. But I don't know. I think they're not as bad as they were last night. I think Cleveland, who plays them all the time, had just a marvelous game plan for them and executed it great. And they got a couple of lucky bounces too, like that interception to start the game. Like, I think that drive was looking really good for the Bengals, and the Browns took it away. Just weird little stuff, but the Browns just commanded the game. This is a play against Carolina. That was everything in the world that they had last week, and it fell apart. And like that's a team that did its best, and I think it's crestfallen. They gave their best possible effort and came up short. PJ Walker played as best as he's probably ever going to play. I like the Bengals. Bengals are also on the money line parlay. I like with where this team is. I like the spot that the Bengals are in. This is a play against the Panthers. It's not a whole lot to do with Cincinnati.
I'm in agreement with Tim on this one. I like Cincinnati in this game. I think Carolina has been punching above their weight. Look, they've been good the past 2 weeks with Peach coming in, at least competitive wise. But I don't know, this just feels like a buy spot. You're buying Carolina at its highest point and Cincinnati at what might be its lowest point of the season. I guess the first 2 weeks was probably the lowest point for the Bengals, but the perception of them has changed now that Jamar Chase isn't there. I don't know what I would put the line at. I think it's just sort of a gut feel that I like Cincinnati way more than I like Carolina.
Yeah, I think we got to make it a hat trick, and my take is kind of similar to Tim's. It's really just an anti-Carolina play. And I know, what you did versus Peter, and then what you did versus Paul, and then what they did versus Peter doesn't really matter. But you just look at the way the Bengals were able to dismantle Atlanta, and then Atlanta, Carolina go have a close game. I just think it's a different class. Give me the Bengals. They should find a way to get comfortable. Boyd and Higgins, still plenty good of a receiving core to be able to make it work.
Chargers at Atlanta. I don't know why you're so terrified of this game, but here we are. No Mike Williams for this game. The Falcons only favored by a field goal at home. 49.5 is the over-under. Like, this game, how do the Chargers not win and cover this game, Geoff? Do they win by a point? Do they do something really stupid at the end and somehow lose this game to the Falcons? Because this seems like a really good matchup for them.
I mean, I get you're saying it's a good matchup because Atlanta puts pressure on no quarterback. So even, with, Slater being out, or even with the injured receiving core, the Chargers off a bye, Herbert's been spending extra time working with the, Everett and Jason Moore and Bandy and Carter and a lot of names you guys have probably never heard of. So at least coming off a bye, they've put in the extra work. And the Chargers should be able to move the football and get their points. I could argue it feels like it could be a good matchup for Atlanta. Their just ability to run the football and muck up a football game. I don't know. They played 5 quarters pretty much, a full 5 quarters. That kick happened pretty much late into overtime. The Chargers are off a bye. The Chargers are 2-0 this year in the 1 p.m. Eastern starting time. They better win. I mean, PJ Walker just took these guys to the brink, so we better beat them, or I'm going to be in orbit, I guess. I'll lay the 3. Pizzola was asking me how they can lose. I think his little consortium's looking to lay that 3. It's a young ho coup revenge game, but this game better start properly. And maybe the coach can goddamn scheme something for once, because he's a defensive guy who doesn't do shit. Like, scheme anything. The last 3 games, we start down 17-0 versus Seattle. We're down 10-0 versus Denver. We're down 14-0 versus Cleveland. Even the worst teams start games like competitively, and then they falter as the game goes on. We can't even, get out of the gate. So to me, that is just such an indictment on coaching. So maybe you could surprise me a little, twerp, and your college buddy Lombardi. Maybe you guys could surprise me.
How much do you think the Chargers would be favored by if Tua was their quarterback? 8?
I really like the Chargers in this spot. This is a big Derwin James game. He better show up. He's going to be needed in this game.
Yeah, it's a big game. Like,
He's
we're playing
been underwhelming
Atlanta.
this season.
You've been
He
getting
needs to show up.
We're off a bye. Like, I am expecting to see something in this game that's like, wow, that was good coaching.
Yes.
Even if you don't think Atlanta is good, like, or you don't think we're good, like, I need a moment or two in this game where it's like, whoa, that'd be coach. Because we're off a bye. We've had a chance to reset. They just played an overtime game to the brink against Carolina. And this also, me on our hammer thing, I'm in on the Saints in that anti-Bucks NFC South situation. So let's knock Atlanta down a peg, open a road for my Saints. Come on, Bolts. Also, Pat, I'm not kidding. I need the Chargers to win this game bad, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to get it. If they win this game, I'm going to buy out of a big stake of my season-long over 10 wins minus like 114. I don't want any part of it. I don't trust these motherfuckers. I don't trust them. And if they can win this game and get to 5-3, maybe I'll have an out, because it's at 9.5 right now. But I need to win this game so I can maybe pull a parachute on something. Yeah.
Really?
But I'm going to bet them this week, and they might be my super lock.
I love
them.
Might
be mine too.
I love them.
Might be mine too.
I love them this week as well, but this leads us to a very key point that this is the Chargers, who are never to be trusted, versus Atlanta, who wins games in the weirdest possible way and just really just screws up everyone's week. At least beyond the last 2 weeks where they actually haven't covered a spread. So very curious to see how this goes. Probably keep it out of my super lock territory for this. Paul,
Gerald Everett, monster game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caleb Huntley probably has a monster game for Atlanta somehow. Demir Bird.
Probably.
Zacchaeus. Paul, turn on your mic for a sec. We got breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Hit me.
The Bills have made a trade.
Woo.
The Bills have acquired Nyheim Hines from the Colts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that probably means that
James Cook is like dead, right?
Yeah, James Cook is basically dead. They don't trust him to go into the playoffs, I guess. Because, like, Singletary's been playing completely fine. We're obviously a passing-first offense. They don't trust Cook. Like, Zach Moss has been a non-factor the last, month.
Yeah, he's, benched.
Yeah.
I like Hines a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if his ceiling is as
back.
high as, some of the other rumored players they could have gotten, but I like that.
But they're not bringing him to be the starting running back. They're bringing him in to be, a pass-catching back and a pass blocker. Paul.
We were supposed to get, McKissick in the offseason, then something happened. So it's that's the piece. Hines is basically the McKissick piece that they were thinking of getting at the beginning of the season.
Does this make Hines, would you consider making him a flex fantasy play, or there's still not that sort of level of value?
I mean, it depends on your league, I suppose. There's 6 teams on bye this week for fantasy, so I don't know if he's going to play this week, but just as a hypothetical, maybe. He had no value with the Colts anymore because the Colts don't do anything on offense, so this has to be an upgrade. I'm curious of how much he's actually going to play. Like, versus who, I suppose, would be the question. Like, what tier of player would you put him in right now? Like, this guy or this? I assume you're asking for your own team?
No, yeah, I own. He's kind of just been a stash because Jonathan Taylor got hurt.
But we saw when Jonathan Taylor got hurt, Deion Jackson took over the job. Not Naheem
well, that's because he
Hines.
got concussed in like the second play of the Bronco game and missed the window of Jonathan Taylor being hurt.
I just don't think they were ever going to give Naheem Hines 15 carries in a game.
You're probably right.
Here's the thing about any Bills running back. The best goal line running back on the Bills is Josh Allen. Be prepared to be very upset when you get to the red zone and then Josh just runs it in.
But Nakeem Hines is not a first and goal from the
he's
two running back
the 40s
anyway.
guy.
Like, that's not what he would do. You never would expect that of him.
Last of the early set, Vegas at Jacksonville. I think these are the teams that have cost people the most money this year. The Jags are a 1.5 dog at home to the no-show Raiders from last week. They're coming back from London. Jacksonville is. The over-under is 48 in the game. I don't know what to do here. It feels like the Raiders should win, although when I started looking into the stats a little bit, Tim, and you'll appreciate this, of why Jacksonville might actually be, and they're not like super ranked up in DVOA or anything anymore. I believe that they're 16th in DVOA. But when you look at what's been their problem, it's not necessarily moving the ball. Moving the ball hasn't really been the problem. It's been stalling in the red zone picks, all this weird stuff. Vegas is the second worst team in the league in allowing touchdowns inside the red zone. So if there's a team to actually get right against, it might be them, so I'll take Jacksonville.
That's all very reasonable, but I'm going to take the Raiders. I think Adams is a huge game here. Huge game. I think he has one of the biggest, probably the biggest game of his season. No one's going to be watching, so it's a prime spot for him to do it. I think the Raiders bounce back big after a shutout. That was an embarrassment. I don't love the fact that they're playing 2 road games, going from Vegas to New Orleans, then from Vegas to Jacksonville. I don't like that, but at the same time, I need to get right in this game. I think the Jags choosing to play after London and that loss in London, which was very deflating. If Lawrence doesn't just turn the ball over, they probably win the game. It's an uninspiring game, but I think the Raiders get things back, and so I'm going to roll with them here.
Jeffrey?
This is a tough one. That Raiders situation, it's unfathomable. Like, to not cross midfield and not do anything for all your Derek Carr. Like, even if you hate Derek Carr, you never think that that's like a nut. Like, there's that sort of nut low in Derek Carr. This is a weird one, and a lot of travel for the Raiders, and a lot of travel, I guess, for the Jags. I'm gonna take the Jags. Hey, I have no clue. I have no feel. So just because I don't like the Raiders, I'm going to pick the Jags here.
All right. That brings us
to
no
feel for this game at all.
Okay.
And the Chargers were in my parlay, by the way. I didn't have a chance to say that.
New England, Cincinnati, and the Chargers.
Money line or 3 points?
Money line.
How you feeling about that, Geoff?
Honestly, I have just such a lack of confidence in what's happening right now that doesn't even do anything. Like, that doesn't even move my needle. All this team has is its quarterback, and we'll see on Sunday what that gets us. And I hope he's healthy, because I think we'll see for the first time he's not on the injury report, and maybe we'll move laterally and extend some plays and just do what we know we can do.
I can tell you it's a lot better to be in your spot to have nothing but a quarterback than to have everything except a quarterback.
Yeah. The internet wants me to be concerned about my quarterback. I can assure you that is the least of my problems. The least. And the only reason that they are literally not already 3 feet underground is the quarterback.
That wraps up the early slate of games, which brings us to the midpoint of the show, which means it's time for a mini version of Cust Corner.
Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. He's got the hottest takes with the highest stakes. He should be president of the United States, but it's Cust Corner, it's Cust Corner. Cust Corner,
Okay, two things. First, I want to spend a little bit of my time and hand it over to Geoff in the corner to answer some questions that were posed on the pick show on Friday. Namely, do you believe, Geoff, that you are an actual member of the Chargers coaching and front office staff? This is what was suggested, that you actually believe that you are a member of the Chargers organization. Do you believe that that's true?
That's an insane comment. What does that mean? Nobody calls me. No one wants my opinion. Just because my wardrobe might think that, I'm not delusional to think that I am. Now, am I lucky enough to sort of exchange once in a while, does DMs with the Spanos? Yeah, that happens. Will our relationship get a little light spark under it when we meet again at Antonio Gates's Hall of Fame enshrinement in a year, I think, because I'll certainly be there and I'll be in the VIP and I'll run into the Spanoses again and I'll remind them of the promises that were made to me. And if we really want to get into it, I could show them that, hey, look, I actually told you should hire Brian Daboll. Like, here was the message. But no, I don't. I missed that segment. That's insane. I love the team. Other than my immediate family, there's nothing I care more about than the Chargers. My life, I guess, is pretty boring. I'm not going to dispute that. But to think that I am a member, no, I don't understand how, I don't even understand the context that comes out. I just love the team. I don't think I play for the team. I don't think I coach the team. I don't think I'm in the management team. I don't understand that. I don't think I've ever spoken like I do think that. I just love the team. I'm a fan. So, no.
Okay. Question 2. Tell me about the world of Coke. Coca-Cola. Tell me about that place.
You talking about like the Coke store or the cool
Yes,
center?
the place you sent me that you sent everything. You sent me a 20-second clip and it got me hyped. I want to hear about it.
Okay, so there's a cool center in Epcot, that has just sodas from around the world that they let you sample freely. They were all repulsive to me. So that's just the cool center. You would probably like that sort of thing. And then there's just a big Coke store, or I don't know, like I showed you, just a lot of Coke.
What merch was being bought? What was the see, I'd be asking the questions. What are the popular sellers? Do you sell a lot of this stuff, that stuff? What were people buying? What did you see people buying?
I wasn't in there very long to inspect other people purchasing. You saw the shirts. I don't know.
They look so cool. I'd be right at the front desk and I would just be asking questions. I'd actually want to speak to an assistant manager or something, just so I could ask them questions about what's popular and what sells. And
but what do you care? Wouldn't you just pick what you liked?
Oh yeah, but I'm curious what other people are interested in. What's the popular and hip sort of Coke wear? Do they have any inside info on new stuff that's coming out or promotions?
Dude, they're just people that are working their shift at that place. And I will say it is the organization of that parks, hotel, resorts. It's beyond comprehension how organized the entire operation is. And obviously, I guess it has to be because it's so massive. We had a wonderful time. I guess my biggest takeaway from the trip is, that my girls are angels. Seeing other people's children in the wild, it just reinforces how lovely my girls are. And the only thing I really want to share with you guys about the whole experience is something's going on in that place. And the numbers just don't make sense. But the amount of people that are in scooters, and my heart breaks and full. This is not, if you are actually handicapped, there's a scooter for you. And if you should see what this place does with children, with special needs. It would honestly like make your eyes water to see how wonderful they are. And that is nothing what I am talking about. But it's just these hordes of humans on scooters. And you could tell who's never ridden a scooter before. People that need a scooter, that ride a scooter, they know how to turn a corner. They've done it in the grocery store maybe their entire life, sadly, or whatever their predicament is that has put them in there. These people, it's a travesty what is happening there. And credit to Walt and the organization for, like, they finally said, no. You're not renting a scooter for $35 and getting to the front of the line anymore. They've pretty much made every ride where the lane's big enough where if you're going to wait for the ride, you can scooter and you can do the turns. And you see these people, they've never driven a scooter before. They can't make a turn.
Are these people chair
Their
bound?
scooters
Like,
are stalling in the middle of the path. Like,
So what
are
you're
these
saying?
larger people?
Or is it like when Homer accidentally got put in that old folks home and he wanted to be hooked up to the iron lung because here I am using my lungs like a sucker?
Yeah. And you know what? I get it. It's a long day. Those places are big. They are big. And my golf blister grew a goddamn blister. Okay? I get it. My season-long golf blister grew a mountain on it. Okay? It's part of the experience. Maybe they should figure something out. Like, you're that gassed. Okay, you get like an hour on the scooter. Like, you get a little reprieve. Here's the scooter.
That's not what mobility scooters are for.
It is embarrassing what is happening in society. And there's a generation of people that are a bit older that rag on Gen Zs and millennials. These people can't even walk. They have no right to make fun of anybody for being lazy or not wanting to work. Again, my heartbreak, if you need it, it's 100% should be there for you. That's why it is there. But it is like, I don't know. It's like a government system that people are taking advantage of.
You know what it's like, the way that you're describing it, is the people who bring their chihuahua on a plane now. Like, no, this is my service animal. Like, they're faking service animals so they can bring their pets on the plane.
Oh, yeah, I know. My mother-in-law sometimes thinks she's so entitled her dog can go in the grocery store. I get so mad. I get so mad.
Grocery store.
I get so mad.
That's awful.
So
oh,
gross.
No, not the grocery store.
No, these
seeing eye dogs
entitled
are
women, there's no stopping them.
Oh, no, you can't go in that grocery store. You can't have your dog
No, because they
following around the lines.
and then any questions, it's a service. No, it's like a mental health. No. And again, that it hurts to distract from there are, parents with children who could have, some.
Yeah, all it does is it does a disservice to the people who actually need the stuff.
Yeah, and that is what they are doing to the truly needing of the scooter people. And to answer your question, Tim, no, it's not all grossly
people of
obese
size
people. You should honestly, if you're gonna walk around a scooter, at least live up the gimmick and put a leg boot on or something. Make me think you're. I don't know. That's my main.
I heard there was a lot of ironic dad T-shirts being worn as well.
Oh yeah, the ironic dad T-shirt thing is like a vibe. It's a vibe. I don't own any of those. They're not really in my T-shirt collection, but yeah, the Dadalorian, Bank of Dad,
Most expensive day ever.
Yeah, and with Disney font or
So it's the most.
I'm a lefty,
hold on.
But I'm always right.
Oh.
Or I love my wife in huge letters on the front, and on the back it's when she doesn't notice I buy new power tools.
I don't even know how to quantify.
Oh, Finding Vino. The ironic dad T-shirt is a vibe down there.
That sounds so horrible.
Yeah, that people should be incarcerated for wearing clothes like that.
I'm always in control, and it's like a picture of a video game remote.
No, go away to jail immediately. Go to your Comic-Con and wear that stuff.
I mean, that's basically a version of Comic-Con is going to Disney, isn't it?
Were there people in cosplay, Geoff, that weren't employees of the Disney Corporation?
No, because they don't really let you wear costumes, although it was Halloween and you see some lovely, family get-ups. And listen, you see these families and it's like, there's a lot of, huge family vacations, right? Like grandparents and cousins and the whole thing. So they're wearing the matching t-shirts. There's a ton of that. That is everywhere.
That's awful. I'm sorry. You don't need to dress everybody like you're the Van Trapp family in Sound of Music and all have the same uniform on when you go out to your vacation.
But
you don't.
It is beautiful to see those sorts of things in a small way. It kind of made me and my wife resent, how come none of our, because we offered it to all of our family.
Because they didn't want to fucking go. Because you offered it to your family so they might watch your kids and you guys could sneak off and do something else. As someone with little kids, I know how this family thing works.
Yeah, but then there's the part of it if it was my sister who asked, maybe the private, whatever.
Is your family playing favorites and you're not the favorite?
No, I'm very much... Everyone's in good standing. I didn't mean to say anything. We had a great time, even though our we still don't have all our bags.
Oh no.
From the trip, and it was a bit of a scene coming home, and I got yelled at by a customs officer.
What were you trying to? What were you trying to smuggle?
Let's hear it.
What were you trying to smuggle?
No, nothing. So we land. Our plane was already delayed, and I will say, I love traveling during football so long as the Chargers aren't playing. Sitting in the airport, watching football, tracking the games, being on the plane, having football, that makes it a much easier day. Even landing and waiting 2 hours for our luggage after a day of a delayed flight. Now, we knew the plane was delayed, so it's not like we sat at the airport. It's annoying to have a plane delayed, but if it's delayed in the morning, then we could have a nice day. We go for lunch. We did that. And I can, tracking the football. But we get there. Now the luggage isn't coming. It's not showing. We've been there for 2 hours. I got a 3 and a 6-year-old. I just want my wife to leave with the kids. You leave. I will deal with this luggage. I'll bring it all myself. You get them home, bathed, bed. It's been a long week. But in clearing customs, you get the paper form. And we're all on a form together. Right?
Oh, yes.
So they wouldn't, and I'm just what are you gonna do? I'm not even being I'm having a normal conversation. I'm a pussy. You think I'm gonna talk up to a customs officer? Pfft, you don't know me. I might get agitated talking about the Chargers. Trust me. Ugh, that's not in my
this isn't Harvey's, for God's sakes.
Yeah, exactly. This is
guy's
not
trying,
Harvey's.
He's not trying to sell you card sleeves.
This is not Harvey's. Or the lady who's making me mobile order when the card sleeves are right behind her, and I just want a couple hard cases, and I got cash, and I don't have the credit card set up to your mobile shit. And I'm just what's the worst that can happen? I'll go through customs again. Just let them go. What do you get? You're gonna make me stay here all night because I don't have my form? And the guy's no, you just have to go together. I'm that makes no sense. Just let them go. Look at the kids. I'll literally do the whole customs again. And then from out of nowhere, I get this Braun Strowman looking fella. Everybody leaves together. I'm okay, that's enough. We're all leaving together. So we just left. I said, fuck it. I don't know if these bags are coming. I've lost bags before. Air Canada's delivered them to my front door every time. And so far, 2 of the 4 have been delivered, and I found out they never even got on the plane. So waiting there longer would have been stupid anyway. And I will say, even the annoying day of travel, me and my wife, at the end, I'm a mental midget. I could have the greatest week ever. That just an annoying travel day home could ruin a whole trip for me. Nope. I am mentally more mature. Not a chance. We had such an incredible week. That would not spoil one part of it for me. There it is.
Okay. I took the kids out trick-or-treating last night. We went out last year. They were 3 and 2 last year, but it was pouring rain, so we didn't really encounter anyone. We went to like 6 houses. They didn't really know what the hell was going on. But this year, out in full force. Halloween was back last night.
The weather was perfect here last night.
The weather was awesome. There was a ton of people in my neighborhood, just people everywhere. And then people started like driving cars through the neighborhood, which I don't get on Halloween, but I guess they were just dropping off their kids to go trick-or-treating in our area. Did not realize, Geoff, the amount of booze that parents are... It just never occurred to me because someone asked me. Because you see like parents with like a coffee cup or whatever it is that they're walking around with. There's just booze in there, as it turns out. I didn't realize that. And other people were like, do you have no self-awareness? Like, I haven't been involved in Halloween since I was like 12
It didn't happen when we grew up. It didn't happen when we grew up.
I don't know if that's the case or not. I was 12.
I would have seen it. I would remember. I'd remember it.
You're the same guy who doesn't
remember what?
You are the same guy that didn't know that people were drinking in high school.
They were drinking at the alcohol parties, not where I was invited. Anyway, I'd see people. Anyway, you'd smell it and see it. But I saw you.
What do you mean smell it? What do you mean smell it and see it?
You'd see the beer.
You would have, they don't have cans of beer walking around.
Literally, people were saying that I read your tweet, and then like other people were talking about it, and like apparently there are houses where like they give beers to the parents after they give treats to the kids. I was like, this is not my experience.
Well, where I grew up, there was always a house that did give out shots to the parents that they could have a shot, but you didn't like bring it with you because they had all their booze and the coffee. And I guess at the time it would have been like it wouldn't be a Starbucks mug. It would have been like a Tim Hortons cup or something like that, just filled with booze. But like I said, I hadn't been involved in Halloween, Geoff, really, since I was 12. I wouldn't have noticed when I was 12. I didn't bring my kids out until now, so it's been like 20 years. It never occurred to me.
It all makes sense. I didn't think about it at all. I was stuck at home doing the handout, giving the candy. So I guess I missed.
That seems like that's the plum job, I'd imagine, of the two. Instead of walking house to house, I think to stay home and give the handy.
Normally, I would be out on the streets, but my wife, I don't know, she organized something with her and like her little posse of best friends, and a couple of them were, driving to our hood. So like she created her own little scene, and then I was totally not needed, and yeah, I stayed home. I don't know if it's the best gig. I did a couple houses with the girls just to, be an active dad. Although I was a great dad last week.
I would switch that up. Being there and seeing other people's kids, the worst. Being out with your kids, seeing them happy, walking around, getting candy, the best. That's the part you want to be at. I didn't realize your wife had a crew though, Geoff. She rolls like 70.
No, not like a crew. Listen,
is she like AI's mom?
No, when I say a crew, listen, it's a girl. She's got like 3 friends.
Oh.
So how much Halloween candy do you have in your house now?
There are boatloads. There are boatloads because we got we got like a very close family friend who lives nearby who just likes to literally just hoards my children with candy. Not that they'll keep it all, but yeah, just dumps it. We have way too much candy. It's repulsive, to be honest.
We bought way too much candy. We weren't able to give it all away with the amount of people that we got. I think we got like 60 or 70 kids coming to the door. Most of the action was on the other side of the street where the sidewalk is. That makes a lot of sense. And then the kids got a bunch of candy. So we were at home. We just have all this candy. It's like, we can't have this all in the house because we're just going to continue to eat this for the next month. So what we did was we put everything in a bowl and put it outside. It's like, we don't want to answer the door anymore. We got to put the kids down to bed at this point. It was like 7:45 because they're young and you put them to bed and there's still people that are going to be trickling through. So I put the kid to bed and then all of a sudden I hear the doorbell ring. I was like, why the fuck is anyone ringing the doorbell? There's candy out there. Just take one and move on. I went out and Tim, what I told you happened. There was probably 100 chocolate bars and candy, like the little ones, in a bowl outside my door. Looked outside, all gone.
Yeah, well, I guess it only takes one thief.
Just whoop. I'm glad they took it. I didn't want it.
I guess.
Yeah, you're happy they took it. You just didn't want the doorbell ringing after someone had taken it.
That was the whole thing. Yeah, we didn't want the doorbell to ring to wake up the kids, and us have to like leave the room to go answer the door. So then I had to like crack into the kids' candy and give them some of the kids' candy because we had no candy left.
And then you turn the lights off. Later, peeps.
Was it a good? So it was a good haul though.
Yeah, it was fine. far fewer full-size chocolate bars this year.
That's too bad.
I would say down 80% from last year.
Anything you had to throw out?
What do you mean?
Like people, when I was young, my mom or dad would check the candy, and there was always some things they'd have to throw out.
Yeah, no one gave us homemade candy.
Like there's always like the Ziploc bag full of something like that would just get thrown out unless it was...
People don't. I don't think people do that anymore. Like they're not giving you candy apples and like their homemade treats.
Okay, well,
that used to
I
happen
haven't done
when we were
Halloween
kids.
since
That was real though.
Yes,
I agree.
I haven't done Halloween since I was 12, and that was a real thing that people did, and I basically always got thrown out.
And going to the candy apple house was like a house you wanted to hit too.
No.
Oh, I would eat it while I was trick or treating because I was really, what are you gonna do? You can't really put it in your bag.
Oh, and by the way, my kid did get a can. I know you guys were talking about it. Was it last week or your Sunday? My kid got a can, like 2 cans of cream soda.
Oh,
never even had pop.
So what you're saying is like the people whose house that you went to, they were like, we have way too much of this soda. We need to get rid of it. Just dump it off to these kids.
I have no idea.
Soda.
But now it's a pink can, and now my kid wants to try it, and I'm like, we'll try it together.
Were there many cans of pop on your side, Patrick, or mini sips or something?
No one gave out any liquid. Not a single person, because they're sensible people.
Okay, but that doesn't. Okay, but there's also a lot of unsensible people, as you would say, who gave out pop. So, cream soda is actually pretty good. I haven't had a cream soda in a while.
And I didn't get it. My kids got no raisins. Tim, what do you think that says?
That's disappointing. Well, I guess people kept the good candy for themselves then.
We didn't get any raisins either. We got a lot of bags of chips. I don't know how I feel about bags of chips as a Halloween candy, but like they were giving out good chips. Like I pounded into some Cheetos last night. I was like, I can do Cheetos. I don't need your off-brand regular chips, but give me some like spicy Cheetos and I'm in. I don't mind that.
Yeah, Lay's plain. That's where it's at.
Paul, you had a question?
Raisins would be one of the things you would want to throw out because they come in like the little cardboard, and that could be really tampered with.
Yeah, razor blade raisins. Watch out.
I guess. I guess I never really thought of that.
I mean, you could put anything in there.
I guess.
Close it back up, and nobody would be the wiser.
Yeah, one of these people could just listen. You could be taking your raisins over and over. They could be prescribed to you, and it just takes one person to switch out one of those raisins. Then boom, it's all over, Tim.
I'd be curious what candy people get these days. Like do the sorts of candies we used to get, people still get like Runts and Warheads.
No. There's none of that stuff. Here's how it works. You get people either buy the full size candy bar and give it out, like the chocolate bar, and give it out to you, or they buy one of the 2 small candy ones that have 5 separate, like, you know what I'm talking about, the big boxes that you see at the grocery store.
I do.
Or they get the box of chips, or they get the like Sour Patch Kids, Swedish berries, like that one. Most people just get a bunch of both and give you a few. Then there are the odd few that have like the Halloween themed candy, which is awful, like a chocolate eyeball that you can give out, or those like suckers that aren't suckers. They're just really hard. Like they're not.
Oh yes, I know the ones you mean.
You know, like those still are floating around, but they have Halloween packaging on them. Like no one wants those. Like I
remember there used to be a caramel apple sucker that used to come out every Halloween.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It had like it was green sucker with the real caramel on it. Someone always gave that out. Same as the Halloween kisses, which I like, the molasses ones.
So Tim, did you not go to the store? Isn't this your move to like buy the 50% off boxes today?
I made a stop at lunchtime to pick up a little bit. Yeah,
it's a good. I saw. Yeah, sometimes they're sold out by lunchtime.
Geoff, did you have any like? Because I looked through the boys' bags. And I was like, all right, what's the one thing that I want from this? And I found what I wanted. Did you have anything like that?
No, but I ate a lot last night.
How many mini coffee crisps did you dominate, Jeffrey?
The whole gamut. I made myself my own like super mixer pack, I tell you. One of everything.
I got there was a full-size caramel bar, and I was like, I haven't had one of these in like 5 years. So I put it in the fridge. I've left it there for the night. So when I get home after filming this, I'm going to indulge myself, and hopefully it's as good as I remember it being.
And those, even the mini caramel, like you get the 2 squares, that is always like an elite top, but
it is. They're hard to find though. Like they're not a part of like the giant
they don't
packages.
exist. They don't exist anymore. They're not like in one of those mass packages. And unfortunately, they like can sometimes be the most likely to lose their integrity, like get smushed or be
thin chocolate. It's very
ideal.
thin.
Yeah.
On that same lane, I used to like the Rolos, but now the mini Rolos are awful. They're like the tiniest little things. They're not worth
I
eating.
agree. I know what you're talking about.
It's like it's a complete waste of time. At least the mini caramel bars have integrity. Like it's a full 2 squares of real caramel chocolate bar. Like the mini Rolos are trash.
All right.
I had a tummy ache this morning, like bad. So
Oh, did you? Because of your super mixer pack?
yeah.
Well, that's when you eat 12 mini Twix, Geoff. That's gonna happen.
No, it wasn't 12 mini Twix, but it was like one of each. So yeah, we're maybe like flirted with 12. Yeah.
Did you have some Smarties?
Had a Smartie. Whatever.
Did you eat the red ones last?
No. I just used the Smartie box as a garbage can for the little chocolate
So
wrappers.
I did the exact same thing today. That's the box I got.
That's why you eat the Smarties first, because then
yes,
it comes back.
yes,
It's
100%. I did the exact same thing. I put the little Kit Kat and I put the little whatever in the Smarties box. Yes, okay. So everybody must do this. This is just a thing people do. It's not just something weird I do.
It's from my engineering degree.
I don't know. You went to Western. That wouldn't surprise me. That's what they taught you in engineering.
All right, we ready? Are we ready to get back to football? Or do you guys got anything else?
No, that was it. I sort of just do a potpourri today, I thought.
Yeah, it was good. I like that. We could talk about Halloween. Seattle at Arizona. Arizona is a 2-point favorite at home. 50.5 is the total. These teams played 2 weeks ago. Seattle won. It was a very low-scoring game. Now DeAndre Hopkins is back. It looks like we may get James Conner back for this contest as well. I don't really care. I still like the Seahawks here. I just think the Seahawks are straight up better, Tim.
I mean, it's a very reasonable case. As somebody who has both a Seahawks to make the playoffs and Cardinals to win the division bet, I'm in a tight spot here. I'm going to play the Cardinals, though. That line is short. Do I really think now that Arizona's back to full strength, pardon me, that they're a worse team than the Seahawks? That's kind of what that line indicates.
I think that they are. The Seahawks are like good, and Arizona kind of side. They were terrible against Minnesota. Minnesota let them sneak back into the game, and every chance, as soon as it got close, and Arizona had a chance to tie it up, get within 2, just fucking blew it every time.
Yeah, but I think we have to learn to ratchet back our expectations from NFL teams. And what we used to consider terrible or bad is just like middle of the pack now. We have to sort of be a little bit more, I think, a little bit less harsh when we evaluate teams because the quality of play is just down in the NFL, and that's just the way it is.
See, I would say that Seattle, and this doesn't mean Arizona can't win, Geoff, but I would rank, if we were like to power rank the teams, I'd have Seattle somewhere inside the top 10. Like their defense has been better. Their offense looks really good. They can run the ball. They can get to the passer. They have guys making plays in the secondary, generating turnovers. Like they wouldn't be 2, but they could be like 7 through 10, something like that. Yeah. I'd have Arizona at like, I don't know, 18, 19, 20, somewhere down there. Like they were lucky they got the 2 pick sixes in the Thursday night game against the Saints because they were probably going to lose that game too.
I mean, I think you're making a very strong case, but I still think at home with their guys, Arizona puts up enough fight to win, and so I'll take them.
Yeah. So I am not as bullish as a lot of people are on Seattle. That being said, I think they're my favorite story in the league. Like the entire, like even the macro concept of what happened in the offseason and all the Pete Carroll, just negative stuff and how it feels like, what a wizard of a trade that they made and the Geno Smith story. Like, I don't think there's a better story in football. It's my personal favorite story in football right now. Owning those Bronco picks. I still just see these teams as much closer. Division, trading wins. I'm going to take Arizona in this game.
Yeah, there's just one problem with Arizona. They're not any good. It's a problem when you're playing Seattle, who's getting coached up by Pete Carroll. These young teams, man, he's motivator, making people compete. That's what you like to say. I don't think Cliff is making anyone compete on the Cardinals, but we'll see.
You're not wrong.
There's a tweet that just came out. I got to talk to you guys about this. It's from Brendan Cooks. And here's his tweet. It just says, "Don't take a man's kindness for granted. Covered for the lies for too long, those days are gone. Crossed the line with my playing career," with a bow and arrow emoji. Thought that was just very interesting from Brendan Cooks.
What does that mean? Is he annoyed he wasn't traded?
I think
There were rumors there were a couple teams that seemed like would be really good fits there.
Yeah,
And
the
maybe
Packers?
he feels like they promised him something. There were some even Chargers rumors with Cooks last
I think
week.
he's alluding to the fact that maybe he knows something about the whole Watts. And
Oh, I'm sure he does. And they probably told him to keep his mouth shut. They'd make it up to him and do whatever he wanted. And then they didn't do it.
Yeah, it seems like he feels like they broke a promise and now he has dirt on them, I guess. Yeah.
Just, it's a really weird tweet. Anyway, Rams at Bucks. The Bucks are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Rams. 42.5 is the total. Would not have guessed this. This was the NFC Championship game last year, wasn't it?
No, it was the NFC
That was the
divisional round
playoff-
game.
Yeah.
It was the one where the Rams were up big, then the Bucks came back, then the Rams won. Is that what happened?
That's correct.
Can the Rams block enough? Because they had real problems against the 49ers, and the 49ers were not at full strength. That's for either of you.
I feel great about the Rams in this game. The Rams should be favored. They're not.
Why should they? But why should they be favored?
Because the Buccaneers are a bad football team.
And
top
the,
bottom.
and the Rams are good?
No, the Rams are not good. But the Buccaneers are legit, like, terrible. They went from having, in the first 4 or 5 weeks, the best defense to that defense having fallen off a cliff. And for no apparent reason.
They all four members of their secondary were injured last week. In fairness to them, like you say, nothing has changed. They were missing 4 starters from 1 unit on the field.
And their all-pro linebacker got hurt in that game.
Yeah, I mean, but I still don't given the teams that they were playing, given the very soft part of the schedule that they were going through, that should counteract a lot of that, and it just didn't. The offense is completely out of sync. I don't think Brady has shown no interest in being there. Like, he doesn't seem motivated, doesn't seem interested. I mean, he's got his guys. He's got, Tampa's offense is what it is, and they made no significant trade, so they are who they are. The team is just busted. They're poorly coached. Their offensive strategy is completely nonsensical. They indicated they intend to run the football even more going forward. So they're actively trying to not win games with this team. I see it. This is a disaster team. They're 3-5. If they lose this week, which they very well could, because people are still going to say at 3-6. Oh, but they still could absolutely win the division and make the play. Like,
I mean, that's true. That is true. They could be 3-6.
They
are
are
a game back.
They
in the division.
They are that pig that gets shot out of the in the Simpsons, where you can say it's just a little dirty. It's still good. It's still good. It's just a little airborne. It's still good. It's still good. No, it's gone. It's gone now. It's finished. The Rams. It was interesting. The Rams were leading at halftime against San Francisco, and I thought they actually had a decent plan in place, and then hell erupted, and San Francisco just hit them with thunderbolts in the second half. But that's not something Tampa's capable of doing. I think the Rams just stick to their game plan and they play solidly. They should win this ball game. I think the line is wrong. It should be the Rams by a point or two. I like the Rams here to win and cover. They're on the money line parlay as well.
Wow. I was going to make the Bucks.
I'm done with Tampa.
I was going to make the Bucks my super lock, Geoff. There's one thing that all I want to look at, and Tampa's been suffering from a lot of Jacksonville type problems where it's been worse lately, but they still move the ball. They just can't score any points, which I will agree. A massive problem. It's not very good. We got Brady's out of the divorce. We got that narrative. That's off his mind. But here's the real thing. The Rams can't block. Tampa still has the second best adjusted pass or sack rate in football behind Dallas. They are going to maul Matthew Stafford. And you say the Bucs can't run the ball? You're right. Neither can the Rams. These are they're kind of mirror teams. And here's the key part, though. Cooper Kupp looks like he's going to play, but it looks like he's not going to be anywhere near 100%. If you're going out there with a 70% Cooper Kupp, what the fuck else do you have on this team? What are you going to score? -4 points?
I don't think Tampa can score enough to win. I don't see no evidence from them to think that this offense could do anything. They're just, look, week after week after week, everyone's like, this is their spot. They should, how many points did they score against the Carolina Panthers? 3?
3.
Like, there you go. Like, they couldn't score against Dallas. They couldn't score against the Saints. They couldn't score against Carolina. They couldn't score last week. They can't score. They're not good. They're a bad football team with really good players. They're a bad team with good players. They are not going to win this game. I mean, they're going to lose this game.
I will concede to you that the Bucs are no good, but let's not pretend like the Rams are any good because they're equally as bad.
The Rams have lots of problems, but they have fewer problems.
I don't know. Geoff, you need to be like Rick here. Can you weigh in?
I feel like I'm not a fair person to weigh in on this because I hate this game. I don't have a strong opinion on this.
And you
game.
hate the Rams.
No. What I'm about to say is I feel like I don't have a strong opinion. I don't see myself betting this game. So for my own personal interests, I'm going to ride or die with my anti-Bucks futures and say the Rams win. And to just piggyback on that a little, I actually trust McVay and Stafford more than Brady and Bulls right now. I don't even know what that's worth, but it's a game I don't love. So there, I just did that generic coach quarterback combo I like more, trust more, that I feel is actually going to work harder this week. That's probably more invested in all aspects of football right now to try to figure it out. But it's scary to think how many of Tampa, the Rams, and Green Bay actually missed the playoffs. All three, 1 of 3, 2 of 3.
At this point, the likeliest outcome is all of them miss the playoffs. That's the likeliest outcome.
If you had done that before the season, I think it would have paid like 86-1 if you parlayed those 3 together.
I believe it. They were the 3 division leaders from last year. They were the 1, 2, and 3 seed in the NFL and the NFC last year. The problem is they all have like irreparable problems. I think the Rams have the fewest problems of the 3, but still.
Tennessee is going to Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Tennessee is a 12.5-point underdog to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, who are coming off the bye. Still not sure who's playing quarterback for the Titans. I would expect it to be Ryan Tannehill. However, Geoff, it is my theory that they have a better chance to cover this game if Malik Willis is playing. They have a better chance to win with Ryan Tannehill, but I think that's very low. And they probably have no chance with Malik Willis. But to cover this 12.5, I would want Willis in like basically what the Bills did on Sunday night when they're like, yeah, okay, we're playing a preseason game now. And then Willis just takes off for like 200 yards rushing against absolute scrubs on the Chiefs' back end. That's how I could potentially see this game going. Maybe Derrick Henry can just rush so much that to limit the Chiefs' possession, sneak out a turnover somewhere and keep this game close. I don't know what to do with it, though, because I loved the Bills last week at 10.5, and I bet it at 10.5, and they won by 10 because they turned the ball over instead of kicking a field goal from the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying, and I guess to the Malik Willis aspect of it, the backdoor and the fact that he is a rookie. It is so young in his career, even in a, trailing by 17 points, every snap will still feel like it matters for Vrabel and the offense and the coaching staff in terms of developing Malik Willis. So I can see that point. I don't know if this is enough. Arrowhead at prime time off a bye. What a horn! Like in terms of spot games, what a bad spot game for the Titans. I'm trying to even remember who did they? Oh, they beat up. They
beat up Houston, and the Titans defense has been better. A lot of that, somewhat due to quality opponent, but they have technically the best rush defense in football. What a team to waste that on.
I hate taking the underdog in these games on this show because I do feel like by the time it kicks off, the spread is higher. So just by saying I'm going to take Kansas City, I feel like I'll get CLV with it by the time people lose and want to trust the Chiefs on Sunday night.
Well, I think it's worked out in the underdog in Sunday Night Football. The big dogs have been coming through. Green Bay covered the spread. Pittsburgh covered the spread against Miami.
Pittsburgh? Oh, yeah.
Anyone remember what it was before that?
I mean, the Bears didn't cover as a big underdog.
Again, that was in like week 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Bengals were dogs and didn't cover against the Ravens a couple of weeks ago.
No, they did cover.
No, they pushed.
No, I thought the Ravens were, it was either 3 points or the Ravens covered.
All right, just it feels like the dog in these primetime games has been the play for the most part. Obviously, they're not going to.
The Chiefs were the favorite and blew out Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but like the Browns were dogs on Monday night, and they won that game outright. The Bears were huge underdogs to the Patriots, won that game outright. Like, I'm gonna blindly take the Titans.
Browns last night, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not betting the Titans, but I'll take the Titans for the show.
I'm sort of on Jeff's train. Like, I think this game's going to get to 14 or 15. So there's value in taking a minus 12.5 right now. And so I'll take the Chiefs. I don't know. As much as I like this Titans team and still think, they are sort of who I thought they were going to be. I think there's a stronger chance than not that Malik Willis plays. And then I think they're really going to lose big. I don't agree with your point about a better chance to cover. I think that Malik Willis will throw them out of the game if they even dare try to throw the ball. I'll play Kansas City.
Listen, that's kind of the whole point of it, though. Malik Willis throws them out of the game with a lack of offense. Kansas City gets up big, and they're up by so much it doesn't matter. Then Malik Willis starts playing against scrubs and scores a bunch of points when it doesn't matter.
So you think Malik Willis is good? I'm not convinced he is.
I mean, I know that he can run around, and I know he can bomb the ball.
I'm very skeptical.
I mean, he was not good against Houston. It didn't matter. But they didn't let him do like what we saw in the preseason, what he was able to do, where he just generates big plays against bad players. Unfortunately, most NFL team starters are good players. So that's the problem. But once the Kansas City puts in the third stringers, maybe it's a different story. That would be how I talk myself into Malik Willis covering this spread. That would be my case for it. Monday Night Football. Baltimore at New Orleans. Baltimore might be out. Like Bateman's out multiple weeks. Mark Andrews might not play in this game. Don't know about Michael Thomas. Don't know about Jarvis Landry. Don't know about any of the DBs on the Saints. Is that 3 now? I was surprised it went up. I thought this would stay at 2. 1, I guess people like Baltimore here. They're favored by 3, by the way. The Saints are a home dog of 3 points. I assume you're rolling with the Saints here, Geoff.
Yeah, Saints at home, Saints off that annihilation. It's all coming up for the Saints. Saints are about to go on a run. Bigly.
I'm going to take Baltimore. I don't think that the Saints have an answer for Lamar Jackson in this game at all. Tim?
Maybe they don't, but I think Lamar Jackson is the only thing that the Saints, the only thing the Ravens have in this game. You described some of the injury to skill position players. And the Saints are kind of scrappy, and they're at home, and that's a tough joint to play on a Monday night when you're shorthanded, as Baltimore is. I don't know. I'm going to play New Orleans here. I think they probably get things in order here, and I'm on team anti-Buccaneers with Geoff. So the Saints winning a game will help that too. I think the Saints are better than you give them credit for. Maybe not as much as Geoff thinks they're good. I still think they're limited. But I sort of take a middle path here between the two of you. That I don't know. I mean, there's also some wishful thinking here, too, in that I could use Baltimore to lose a game. So it was great last night that Cincinnati lost a game. But I like the Saints here, I guess.
I think that the Saints are going to end up probably being the sharp side of this game, probably the side that you should bet, and then people are going to watch the game where we're 10 minutes in and Andy Dalton has thrown 3 picks or something like that. Just strikes me as one of those games.
Oh, okay.
And maybe Baltimore will run another play, unlike the Raiders did. Then Devontae Adams runs down sidelines and tries to make hero catches on balls that are nowhere close to him. That was not a good play, but the Raiders really stuck to it. It was their only play in the game.
Yeah, that was they checked out of that game. But I think Devontae, like I said, has a huge game this week. He and Eckler, those are the two guys I really like this week.
Yeah, I mean, Eckler should absolutely tear apart the Falcons, which means... Actually, Geoff, this is a question that Jake brought up to me on the ranking show. Who is their backup now? Because Spiller was active before the bye, or is it still Sony Michel?
I don't have a clue.
I'm going to say...
But they've been desperate to find a complimentary back. Josh Kelly was finally playing like tough and the best football of his career, and he got hurt like the second series of that Bronco game. Spiller did not look very good in some limited opportunities versus Seattle, but that was his first game. I think ideally it would be Spiller, but I don't have a clue, Pat. And they've been desperate to find a complement for Eckler, and they've invested draft capital, and there's nothing works ever. We suck.
Now that Tim has said that Eckler is going to go off, I just assume Eckler is going to get hurt on the first play, and then they'll have to bring in whoever. So if I can guess who that is, I can make myself some decent money here. Superlocks for the week. I'm down between Seattle and Tampa Bay as my Superlocks. Two very low spreads, but two teams I'm confident are going to win this game. I'm going to take the Buccaneers -2.5 as my Superlock. Jeffrey.
Detroit.
Yeah. I almost took the Chargers. Who are you taking, Tim?
Chicago.
You just pick against them. You just power the Dolphins every week, man. Then you're going to be wondering why they got it. Oh.
It's a bad line. There's value there. It's bad. You said it yourself. There should be a 2 or 3 point spread.
No, I didn't say that. I said the 5-point lines are always the sketchiest. The road team laying 5. And in my head, like, I think it should maybe be closer to 3 than 7 if having to pick a key number.
Yeah, and I mean, according to ELO, the number's way off as well.
According to what?
The Electric Light
According
Orchestra?
to 538's projection models thinks that game should be about a 2-point game. But, I mean, there's actually quite a few games that are way off this week, but that's one of them.
Are they printing money?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're just blindly trusting the system. Like, are they showing results that these whatever
I'm
numbers?
not looking into it.
I'm going to say you should probably look into whatever they're
But
projecting.
I project the intelligence of the people that run that system. By far, the teams that have the most value on it. Yeah, exactly. By far, the teams that have the most value this week are the Jets and the Bears by the numbers.
Well, you're 5-3,
and the Titans too, for the matter.
You're 5-3 on your super lock, and I think all 3 games you've lost, you've picked against the Dolphins.
Maybe, but I really feel good about the Bears this week. If I hadn't taken the Bears, this famous last word. If I hadn't taken the Bears, I would have taken the Chargers.
I thought you would have taken the Rams. You were all over the Rams.
I like the Rams too. They're on my parlay, but no, I like the Chargers. The Chargers should destroy Atlanta. Destroy them.
I mean, they should, but they're the Chargers, so they'll do something absolutely ridiculous to lose, or not cover at least. It was like that game. It was like that game last year, Jeff, against Philadelphia, where love the Chargers. They went on the road, beat the crap out of Philadelphia, and then it was like a 3-point game at the end. I think they won by 4. Or the line was 2.5, and they won by 3. But they really should.
It'd be great for them. It'd be great for them to win. We get them on Sunday Night Football next week. It'd be good for them to bounce into that primetime game with a big win.
We are going to get annihilated by the 49ers. Annihilated. We better beat Atlanta to get to 5-3 so we can get annihilated by the 49ers to be 5-4 and then, still like have our head above water a bit to try to do something.
Where is that game?
It's in San Fran, but it wouldn't matter because look what San Fran does at
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is
SoFi.
there SoFi fatigue for 49ers fans? Is what I was trying to get at. Like, they just went all out to go play the Rams against the Chargers. They're like, we'll take this one off.
I will say the biggest concern, and it should be a concern for the league, the Chargers will always have issues, and winning first will need to help. But the Rams built that place. The Rams paid for that place. The Rams went out and made the trades. The Rams went out and won a Super Bowl. And you would think doing that would move the needle, like just a little bit. It didn't move the needle at all. Like even looking at the LA TV market numbers each week, it doesn't indicate any sort of spike from previous, which means the Chargers' future is utterly hopeless. But that's just like, what a scary sign that you can win a Super Bowl and not even make a dent in a market. What a crazy place.
Tim, as I mentioned, your teaser lost last week, so you're 1-7 for the year. Your lifetime record is 16-110 now. However, the one you did win this year was a money line parlay, so I see you're going back to that. What is it?
It is Cincinnati, the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Rams. Bet the house, win 5.62 houses.
How can you have 0.6 of a house, Tim? It doesn't even make sense.
You have one of those split levels, you rent out the bottom.
Oh, so bet one house, get 5 houses in income property?
Exactly.
I like it.
Tim, what's up with you recommending Bentley SUVs to your friends?
I was asked about this a friend of ours was looking for an SUV, like looking for a nice a nice car, and he's like, I'm interested in an SUV, and so I recommended a few different SUVs. I recommended the Jag, and I recommended the Porsche, and I recommended a Bentley one too, the Bentley, because it looks really really nice. And like if he wants a nice vehicle and like he wants to drive around, and I think that would be a really really nice car to have.
Headline, Geoff. Bentley makes a nice car.
Yeah.
Like it's not unreasonable.
It's pretty unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's pretty unreasonable. Paul.
How much money does Tim think a Bentley SUV is?
He knows how much it costs.
Only because I was told. If I had been asked to guess beforehand, I would have guessed, I don't know, like $400,000.
So you would have guessed more than it actually is.
Yes. So when I heard it was only 250,000, I was like, actually, that's not nearly as much as I would have thought. Like I wouldn't say they're giving it away, but that's like it's affordable.
I was looking at some SUVs, even the one I'm attracted to the Genesis, that saved Tiger's life.
Yeah, that looks like a nice one. I'll tell you though, I hear great things about the Jaguar F-Pace.
Duh.
I hear great things about it.
It's a really nice car. It's more than My dad had that car. I can't have that car.
Fair enough. But
it's more than you want to spend on a car.
I think the Porsche Cayenne.
Well, the Genesis was more than
too.
I thought it would be. Also, to be perfectly honest,
Infiniti makes a nice one too.
What is it? The Cayenne? The Cayenne? The Pepper?
The Cayenne, the Porsche Cayenne. Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful one.
No, they're not.
Beautiful.
Those are fucking trash. I hate every single one that I see. I couldn't fathom buying a Porsche and getting it as like a soccer mom SUV. That feels like you're defeating the purpose of getting a Porsche.
But then wouldn't you say the same about like a Bentley?
Yes.
Oh, it's a total power move.
I would. It's not a power move. Like unless you are not going to say that. Okay, no, we'll move on from that. I think it looks stupid. I don't get it whatsoever.
I think they look really nice. I'd love to have one.
I mean, you can go in with all of the. Okay, I guess I will say it, Geoff. There's a lot of. The first time I ended up going to buy a new car, like leasing a new car, I did learn that white cars are just substantially cheaper than every other car. Makes a lot of logical sense. It just never occurred to me. What's that?
I can't do white because
No.
I could tell you why.
No one wants to do a white car because it gets dirty all the time. I mean, there might be other reasons outside of that, but that's also why it's cheaper. The coat of paint, the specialized coat of paint isn't put on it. So you save yourself like $2,000 if you're going to get the Porsche or get whatever car that it is if you get white over a different color. So I noticed that in the back of my mind. Put that away. Put that in the storage bank for later. So I see a bunch of people driving around in these white Porsche SUVs. I'm like, you're rich.
All women.
It's all moms, or trophy wives. But you're rich enough to get the Porsche SUV, but you have to get the cheapest color. Like something is off there. Anyway.
White is men do not. It's very rare. Like for a man. Yeah, I see a lot of the white SUVs. It's usually the moms, because I'll be honest, my mom gave me a white SUV and I accepted it, and then I quickly realized, oh my god, the only people driving this car are, and I had to get out of it. Yeah,
I can recommend you what kind of SUV are you like? Are you looking for like a family SUV?
Yeah, we got a Santa Fe. We like it.
My mom has a Santa Fe.
Okay, so it's time to trade up to a nice one then.
Yeah, it's time. I'm not debate. That's why I told you I was looking. It's ready. I was sort of taken aback at how expensive the Genesis was because, I thought like I could hit up Nav Bhatia and get a good deal.
How maybe he'll throw in some Raptors courtside tickets along with
that's
it.
Raptors super fan.
Yeah.
Not that anyone would know what that is, but
if you're from Toronto, you know that guy. You see him on TV all the time. You saw him a lot during the NBA championship run. But If you're looking for cost efficient but good car, I have the Volkswagen Atlas, but the Tiguan is like super affordable and it's pretty nice. I know a bunch of people who have the Tiguan and they all really like it.
And you have the Atlas in the best color, which is like that dark forest green.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But like with the littlest kids, I feel like we need the biggest car possible, which seems counterintuitive because they're so small. But when they're so small, they have the giant car seats, the amount of shit that you have to bring for them all the time. You can fill up that back seat pretty quickly. And if anyone else comes with us, we need that back row to put them in as well, like if grandparents are coming with us. But I think as they would get older, I'd downgrade to a Tiguan because you don't need a car that big. And they are actually, unlike the Bentley, Geoff, they're actually affordable.
Yeah, no, we had one of those before this car, so I liked it. I maybe would go back to that. I wouldn't. I'm a fan of those Tiguans.
Or as our friend told when he looked for an SUV recommendation, our other friend just said, "Fuck that, get a Ford F-150." But there we are. Anyway, anything else you guys want to chime in?
Nowhere to park a Ford F-150 in the city, Pat. You can't.
No, there's nowhere to. If you live in a city and like a truck isn't specifically a part of your work, I couldn't fathom owning a truck. It makes no sense to me.
Only if you grew up driving them your whole life, and that's what you're comfortable in.
If you grew up driving a truck your whole life, chances are you didn't grow up living in a city.
No, but you could have grown up. You could be living in the city now because you might have grown up on a farm, and now you live in the city.
Yeah, but like imagine Paul can attest to this. Remember that parking lot that we used to use across from our old studio, and the amount of trucks that couldn't fit in there?
Oh yeah, Toronto is like a nightmare if you have a big vehicle. But like where we live here out in the East Coast, it's like unless you're going like downtown Halifax, this is truck country.
No, Calgary was truck country when I lived out there.
I mean,
yes, more so than here, but yes, you do see a lot of trucks here. But you do see a lot, particularly where our friend lives in New Brunswick. You do see a lot of trucks.
All right, well there we are. He also uses it for his job, so that
but they're also a good winter vehicle too. If you drive in a lot of snow, they're probably
great
a good
roads.
winter vehicle.
Great roads.
New Brunswick's roads are amazing.
Yeah, they made that double lane highway.
Well paved. Nova Scotia, trash roads.
Yeah, bad roads in Nova Scotia because people actually want to come here and drive around. The only thing that New Brunswick is good for is actually driving through. So
that's fair.
There's that part.
That is a true statement.
I assume the roads in Manitoba are super nice as well.
No, they're too broke.
Okay. Anyway, we should probably get out of here since we're now talking about this. Follow Geoff on Twitter at GFienberg17. Follow the coin at LCoin on Twitter. Paul Shagby at the PME and Tim at Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
Not my Twitter account.
No, it got verified. I verified it today. I saw it. I clicked on it. I was like, verified Tim Andercust. That's you. Can't believe you paid
the $8 you ever spent.
Yeah. I can't believe you're paying $20 a month for that.
Yeah.
All right. Sub to the newsletter, play in the Listeners League, do all of that fun stuff. And for more, Tim, Geoff, and myself, check out the Hammer HQ YouTube page where we're going to start filming right now. All right, I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Mayo Experience!